Hi there, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Taryn. I am a women's physiotherapist and passionate about helping women to connect to their body and in particular their deep core and their pelvic floor. And throughout this workshop, you will begin to understand why I sense that this is really valuable and important for women. I'm dedicating this mini workshop to the women who I would have been working with either over the past few days or over the coming days now that we have ceased face-to-face contact for the time being. So let me first talk you through the deep core and pelvic floor and what I see this space as in a physical functional level and also on a energetic level as well, and then seeing the connection of the two and how we can connect to our body and to our body's own unique language so that we can trust our body, trust ourselves and embody more of our own unique being and share that with the world, because this is what I really believe when we are moving through the world in a way that reflects who we are at a soul level, at a the essence of us level. That's when I feel like we are at our most happy, our most joyful, we feel most at peace in ourselves, and we bring our own creativity, our own unique view, and we see that as a gift and we gift that to the world. So on a physical level, the deep core is a group of 4 muscles. So we have our diaphragm at the top, which is our breathing muscle. We have a group of muscles that make up our pelvic floor at the base, which act as the base to our pelvic bowl. These muscles have a role in maintaining continence. They have a role in helping with sexual function, and they also have a role to support our bladder, our bowel, and our uterus as well. Wrapping around the front, we have our transverse abdominal muscles, and this wraps around our body like a corset. And then at the back, we have our deep multifidus muscles, which offer our deep spinal support. And these muscles work in a beautiful way in conjunction with one another. And what I really sense is, as part of my own practice and what I practice with women, is simply feeling into this space in your body and feeling how your body moves with your breath. That in itself is a very peaceful, calming and connected practice where you can really sense how your body moves and how it moves freely without us having to think about how to move and how to contract. So it gives us that understanding of the body's innate wisdom and how it just knows how to move, and that ebb and flow that we naturally have, which helps us to understand our cyclical nature as well. So as we breathe in, the diaphragm descends, and to allow for that change in pressure, the pelvic floor responds by relaxing and giving a little, and the TA and the belly bulge and relax and give away. So when we breathe in, belly and pelvic floor allow for that change in pressure. And then as we breathe out, the pelvic floor gently recoils and contracts, and the TA and the belly draw back in, belly button towards spine. And this happens without any particular effort required. And let's go into a simple breath practice that helps us to just connect in with this space and feel how our body moves with the breath. You can do this laying down, and often women find that a really comfortable and easy position. I'll stay sitting up so that I can talk you through this breath practice, and then we can talk more on an energetic level and how I sense the deep core to serve and respond on an energetic level as well. So if you take a really relaxed position, it's often very nice if you just take a moment, if you're sitting, to pull away the flesh from the buttocks so that your sit bones feel really beautiful and grounded. You perhaps bring a little bit of length through the spine, and you have your head stacked over your heart and your heart stacked over your pelvis. And then you might like to make any little adjustments in your body to just really get comfortable, and then reset into that position. Close down the eyes if that feels good for you. And then begin to just breathe into the body. Just connect with your breath, so no effort required. Just simply feeling for the breath, bring awareness to the breath. Breathing in through the nose and just sensing the breath as it comes down the back of the throat and into the rib cage. And then following the breath as it leaves the rib cage, comes up through the back of the throat and again out through the nose. And just tracing that breath with your mind's eye. And feeling into the movement of your body. Relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing through the jaw. And simply noticing the movement of your body with your breath. Then bring your awareness to your abdomen. And perhaps it feels good for you to just place one hand onto the belly. And just notice how the belly moves with the breath, allowing it to soften and give way with each breath in. And notice that very subtle drawing inwards, belly button to spine with each breath out. And if it does feel a little bit challenging to allow the breath to come into the belly and for the belly to soften, with that hand that's on your belly, as you breathe in, just allow it to soften. And then as you breathe out, just a very gentle pressure onto the abdomen with the hand. And then as you breathe out, feel the belly press against that pressure, and then you spring the hand, or let the hand just spring off with the pressure as you breathe in. You breathe out, gentle pressure onto the abdomen. Breathe in, focus breath to the hand. Belly presses to the hand whilst the hand offers a little bit of pressure for that guidance. And then as you breathe into the hand and feel that pressure gently lift off. And then take the hand away and just practicing a few more breaths into the belly. Allow the belly to bulge and soften. This is often one of the most challenging things that women have, because we do carry a lot of tension through the abdomen because we sometimes don't like how we look cosmetically, particularly after babies. It may be that it's something that we're taught always to draw in the belly button towards spine in a lot of our classes, and we often don't have that chance for relaxation and letting go. We're going to continue then with our awareness towards the pelvic floor. So we bring our mind's eye to the pubic bone at the front of our body. to the coccyx at the back, and then to the sit bones on either side. And imagining the diamond shape that is created by this bony structure, and feeling into the muscles that sit within this space and offer the base of our pelvic bowl. Bringing your awareness to the perineum, the space between the vagina and the anus. And as you breathe in, feeling for that softening and the opening and the allowing of the pelvic floor. And as you breathe out, feeling that very gentle recoil of the pelvic floor inwards and upwards. Breathing in, feel the allowing, the giving way, the softening of the pelvic floor. Breathing out, that gentle drawing inwards and upwards without any particular contraction required. You're just sensing how the body moves with the breath. Again, relaxing through the jaw, relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing through the glutes and the buttocks, the inner thighs. And then noticing the rhythm of the body as the rib cage expands, belly bulges, pelvic floor softens, and then feeling the drawing inward of the pelvic floor and TA with each breath out. And just really noticing the rhythm of your body and how it moves with the breath. This is a really beautiful and simple practice, and you can do this just over a couple of minutes. To begin with, it might feel challenging to relax through the belly. It might feel challenging to feel the muscles of the pelvic floor, but meet yourself where you're at, trust where you're at, and allow yourself to be wherever you are, and just engage with this practice as designed to actually be with your body and tune into the rhythm of your body. Let's talk now around the deep core and how I sense this as at an energetic level, and why I feel tuning into this space is really, really powerful. Now, you will have heard me already say that one of the areas that we hold tension is through our abdomen, and often too it's through the pelvic region. And often women notice that when they feel stressed, when they feel, when they're doing too much, that's often when we feel like our pelvic pain increases. Often when we are not so perhaps in tune with our cycle, maybe taking medication that is designed for contraception, for example, that we perhaps have been using, but without that conscious awareness of, why am I using this? Does this actually feel right for me? Or am I simply using it because someone else guided me and told me that this is what I should do in my body, when actually it feels really uncomfortable and I don't like the sensation of that? Or when we're feeling like our cycle is something that is really inconvenient and that we don't enjoy, and rather than working with the rhythm of our body, we're actually trying to say, okay, that's actually really inconvenient to have a rhythm, and I would like to just be on the accelerator all the time. And when we get into that mode, often that is when women say things like they actually have never connected with this space in their body. They've never thought of it to be a powerful place. They've never really thought of their cyclical nature and their natural rhythm. And this is when, because we do have a cyclical nature and a natural rhythm, and we do have that ebb and flow, when we don't connect to that, that's when we can feel like we're burning the candle at both ends. We're doing all the time. We don't have that spaciousness that we crave in our life. Perhaps we have pain with sex, and we feel unsatisfied with sex, or dissatisfied with sex. We become disinterested in sex, even though we would like to be interested in sex, when we become disconnected from this space. And often we don't connect with this space because we have an underlying understanding that actually, once we connect with this space, what we do in our lives and how we are could actually change dramatically. And that is the power of connecting with this space. And it can be very unfamiliar. It can be very confronting, and for a lot of reasons, and I won't talk about it in this video. It can be very confronting, or feel quite unsure of connecting with this space, because this is also where we like to suppress and push our emotion. And we know that if we connect to this space, we'll connect to that held emotion, and we become unsure of if we've actually got the capacity to, one, deal with that emotion, or if we have the ability to slow down. Then we have the this underlying anxiety that perhaps once we slow down, that maybe we'll never start again, or I won't be able to keep up, or whatever it might be. We often have this really innate and intuitive understanding that connecting with this space is powerful, but we have a little bit of fear around it, because we know that things could change so dramatically. So I will assure you that once you do, or that not even once you do, that you do have the capacity, that you do have the potential, that you do have the power to, one, connect with this space, and two, to actually be able to be at peace with whatever actually does come up for you. And it's not something that you need to go and dive really deep into overnight. This is a progressive practice, and something that you just, meet yourself where you're at, and actually just be in communication with your body. It is as simple as breathing into your body, breathing down into this space, connecting with this space, and be open to asking the question of, what is here for me? So if you're aware of the chakra system, you will know that we have the base, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, and the throat. And what I really love about this chakra system, and what I resonate with in this understanding, is that when we are connected to this space, when we are connected to our personal power, when we can live with an open heart, and when we are able to be in communication with what feels really truthful and resonant to us, and open ourselves to the world with that, when we are able to speak our truth, that is when we feel the most joy, the most peace, the most at ease, the spaciousness. And I feel like we feel really well equipped to handle whatever life throws at us, when we are in deep connection with our body and with our deep core. And there are some beautiful illustrations that actually show the similarities of the musculature of the pelvic floor and the vocal cords. And if you look at my Instagram, you'll be able to view some of those pictures. But what I have an understanding of, and what I can sense in my own body, is that when you are connected deeply to this space, And when I say deeply, it's actually very simple, but it's that you are in communication and that you have an awareness and that you have an openness to respond to your body's language and your body's communication. This is when we can actually speak our truth, when we can actually move through our world in a way that feels really resonant, really aligned to us. And so there are so many ways that you can connect with your body and with your deep core. And one beautiful way that a lot of women are already working with is connecting to their cycle. And so when you connect to your cycle and you have an awareness of the rhythm of the cycle, then you have an awareness of your own cyclical nature and how your body feels, that it doesn't feel the same all the time, and that how you nourish and connect with your body might be different over the phases of the cycle. Now, my interpretation and understanding is that it's not required that we need to make this complex. It's not required that even if you don't have the space and the time to actually map it out on paper, if you don't feel like that resonates with you, or you don't feel like you have the space just yet, if you don't want to look at the lunar cycle and how it reflects and resonates with your inner world, then that's okay. Just choose what feels good for you. And so what might feel good for you right now is just to start having an awareness of how you feel. And also what I sense too is that often when we're looking at tracking our cycle and feeling through the rhythm of your own cycle, there's some information out there that will say that over this period of your cycle, you will feel like this, and at this period of your cycle, you will feel like this. And that, I believe, is not true. Your body feels how your body feels, and we are all individual. So trust how you feel, and it can't be wrong. There are certainly patterns that we go through. Certainly a lot of women on those first 7 days from when the bleed starts, they feel like they're wanting to turn more internally, rest, recovery. And then after those 7 days, we start to feel a little bit more energy, a little bit more outwardly into the world, up until ovulation, where we feel often, and this is not always, at our most open heartness, our most willing to converse, our most willing to put ourselves out into the world, the sexiest. And then coming back around towards the second part of our cycle, we again start to slowly want to retreat it back inwardly. And so this is the cycle, and this is why we liken it to the moon phases as well, where there's, and also the what do we call it, the summer, autumn, winter, spring, those phases, the word has escaped me, the seasons, and how we liken it to the seasons as well, because there is that cyclical nature where we wanted to go more internally, perhaps more expressive, more creative, and then coming back internally as well. And there is no right or wrong. And you might feel it, how it changes in your work. You might feel how it changes your cycle, how you'll change towards how you move in your body. You can choose just to tune into your movement, for example, and that's what I did. How do I feel like moving my body during different phases of my cycle, and just create an awareness of that and some connection to that. And then the biggest piece is actually giving yourself permission to respond to how you do feel. So for example, in that first few days of your cycle, if you do feel like you want to retreat more inwardly, you do want some downtime, that it's okay to say no to things, that it's okay to lessen your to-do list, it's okay to put things off until a time where you're feeling more energetic, more more spring in your step, more willing and wanting to create and bring forth. So that is one way that we can connect to our deep core. Another way is through movement practices, and this is what I love to do, is to connect with the deep core through movement practices. And so I'll show you a couple of very simple movements and postures and positions that I like to connect with this space. And then, yeah, you can try what feels good for you. So often laying down on your back, often with the feet together, and the knees spread wide and the hands onto the pubic bone. That's a really nice position for some breath practices. Breathing into the belly, feeling into this space. And I do have some other meditations and things like that I'll share with you in the future that we can do in this beautiful position. Another position for breath practices is to have the feet wide and the knees falling into one another. But for movement practices, and I'll show you a couple, and I have some on my YouTube that you can experiment with, is to just be in a simple supine position, the knees bent, the feet flat on the floor, and starting to bring some movement perhaps into the pelvis with some rocking forwards and backwards. And just noticing how that feels in your body. Perhaps some clocking, so using the sacrum against the floor, the mat beneath you, and just rocking around on the sacrum. And feeling for any areas that kind of feel a bit clunky, and then when you find that spot, if you do, to actually just spend a little bit of time in that area, finding the softness, finding the rhythm, and changing your positions. And sometimes just some, relaxed pelvic movement. But often I like to use this space, or this position rather, to practice some pelvic tilting, pelvic clocking, or sacral clocking. Coming into a sitting position, and again you can use a mat, a bolster or a pillow, rolled up towel or anything like that. Perhaps a cross-legged position, and this is really beautiful position to work with the rib cage and the abdomen, and some circular motions, some really beautiful side movements, breathing into the rib cage, feeling how your body opens side to side, and in this position, like we've already done, belly breathing and some pelvic floor work. And another position that's really nice is 4-point kneeling. Once you have yourself in a 4-point kneeling position, you can do, this is my favorite, lots of rib cage, abdominal movement, experimental movement, and lots of circular motions as well. And so how I like to guide women to start to experiment with this kind of movement, connecting to this space and connecting to their body. This is really about whole body connection, but this is often the space that we avoid. We don't want to go there because there's so many reasons why we don't want to go there. We are not taught to, we are actually taught to be ashamed of this space in our body, basically, or often. And so in terms of movement practices, what I really love is to actually, one, make the intention of your movement to simply be to connect with your body. So rather than moving for, I'm going to get my heart rate up, I'm going to increase my fitness, I'm increasing my strength, and they're all really beautiful things to do and things that I do for myself and that I encourage women to do. But I also really love the purpose of movement to be, and the intention behind your movement to be, simple body connection and a simple awareness of how you're feeling in your body, and allowing emotions to be expressed through movement or through simple breath, through simple awareness. It's about just coming back into your body, being able to feel open, or being willing, because you are certainly able, being willing to feel open to whatever is here for you, and to be willing to explore that and start to express that, either through emotion, either through words that come out, either through journaling, perhaps through movement as well. So making your movement, the purpose of your movement around simple body connection and curiosity and self-connection as well. So to do that, what we need to do is take away the thoughts that there is a right or a wrong way to move your body, to take away the intention of getting up your heart rate, doing this for fitness, and creating the intention of curiosity, that you cannot get this wrong, to trust your body, to trust your instinctual movement patterns, and to allow whatever comes up to come up. And so movement to music, sometimes movement in the elements, in water particularly is beautiful, outside in nature can be really opening as well. Perhaps putting on some music, like I said, but just simply moving for the purpose of body connection. And your movement may look very different to what it sometimes does. So it might be that you generally practice, really big range of movements, or maybe really solid, strong poses, and that this comes really more fluid, and perhaps it really becomes very subtle in its movement and very, there's no right or wrong, but you might find that it changes, and as it changes, that's the awareness and the curiosity, is to just allow it to be whatever it is. Is there any more that I want to share with you in this video? I feel like as women, with, I'm here recording this with my girls in the house, and just doing this from whatever comes out of my heart and my mouth, no planning or anything like that. But there is so much that I could say on this topic. There's so much that I want to share around pelvic health, your body's wisdom, connecting to your natural nature, to know that you are strong and capable, and that you are resilient and able, and that your body, when you speak to your body and you feel into this space, let me talk about that actually. When we feel into this space of our core, we can feel really connected to the energy of our core. This is where we get our gut instincts, our gut intuition. This is where our natural rhythm and natural nature and our cyclical nature is really beautifully represented in our body. This is where we feel our love and our connection, and this is where we speak our truth from. And this is, for me, it's, this is where you breathe from. This is where your heart beats from. This is where your personal power is, and it's the deep core, yeah? And this is the pelvic floor. And so this space in your body, and connecting to this space through breath, through simple awareness, through the way that we communicate with others and ourselves, I really find it powerful. And yes, that's what I was saying. You can feel in your body when the energy feels contracted. You know, when you start to feel stressed and you get headaches and you get rung up through your shoulders, or you get tension through the abdomen, you can't breathe into your belly, you can't relax. Or some women say, I just can't get quite that full breath. I can't feel like I can full breath, or they get pelvic pain. They can feel that contracted energy. And for me, that's a sign that there is something that is asking for attention in your life, whether it be you want to connect to your cyclical nature and actually tune into that and make your life reflect your inner world rather than your outer world. You trying to keep up with that and being inconvenienced by how your body feels. And then alternatively, we can feel this beautiful connection to this space and feel into our power and be like, wow, I am just, I can't believe that I've never been so in touch and in tune with this space, because it is very powerful. This is where we create from. This is where we literally create life and birth life from. We can feel the softening of the abdomen, and we can feel and sense our personal power. We can feel our heart open. We can feel ourselves responding rather than reacting, and we can feel ourselves talking more about truth. And sometimes, particularly, I can attest to this, when you start to speak your truth and the words that come out of your mouth they feel almost like, wow, is that even me saying that? But it feels so right that it can't be wrong, but it's that you haven't perhaps practiced speaking this way before, because it's not, maybe just it hasn't been practiced. Let's just leave it at that. So thank you for joining me. I hope that this feels helpful. I really offer you, in this time and this space in the world where we are coming home to our houses, but can we come home to our bodies? And when we have, it may not seem it, you know, with people losing their jobs and financial stress, and we can't connect with people in the ways that we ordinarily would, and we can't move our body at the yoga studio, and our outer world has been, you know, turned into turmoil in a lot of ways. But at the same time, this anchor of your inner world is here, and it is strong, and it is stable, and it is capable. And if we can connect to this foundation that already exists, we can connect to the calm that is within our inner world, then we are more able to respond to the outer world. So let's take this time, or I encourage you, and you do what you will, to use this time to actually not come home to your home only, your physical space, but come home to your home, your physical space of your body, because this is where the power is at. All right, thank you again for joining me. I would love your thoughts and any questions from this video. Take care of you and your family and stay healthy. Bye.